Hello, I'm Dave Solo, a collector and explorer of artist and photo books based in Brooklyn. Many thanks to Sarah Bodman and the Babe team for the opportunity to share a quick exploration of photo poetry books. You may be wondering what that is, and hopefully this will give you a sense of what sort of books those are and perhaps create a few converts. I've always been drawn to the combination of image and text, from classical Chinese and Japanese work to the present, and several years ago began to be drawn to books that combined poetry and photography. Like any good collector, I started to actively search for such material and kept coming up empty with responses like, no one has ever asked for that. And I'm sure I've seen something, but let me think. Even when presented with a book that has photos and text, there's a frequent challenge regarding what the text is. Is it poetry, lyrical prose, song lyrics, diaristic material, etc.? It's even harder when you can't read the language. It does turn out that there have been a lot of such works made over the past 170 years, going back nearly to the dawn of photography. So the project has evolved to understanding how this work comes about and what makes it successful, while still uncovering both new and historical work and adding to my collection. What do I look for? There are many modes of photopoetic collaboration. The same artists as poet and photographer, active partnerships, a selector, whether editor or artist, choosing work to pair. With some of the books I'll talk about, the physical design of the book plays an important role as well and brings in an additional set of artists, which brings it even more into the realm of artist books. Regardless of the nature of the collaboration, I found that the most important and most interesting factor is having a dialogue between the image and text that continues to ask questions of the reader and provokes a rereading and new interpretations of the verse and photo. Many of the artists who have written about this field have made similar pronouncements. Norman McBeath and Robert Crawford, who have been collaborating on many examples, published a manifesto in 2016 in Chinese Makers, stating that neither the poem nor photo should have a literal connection to the other and must themselves be strong. Paul Strand in Time in New England in 1950 said there cannot be too close a relationship and asks how loose can it be? Constance Phillips, who was first to use the term photo poem in her 1936 book, stated her purpose to give existing poetry a new and original interpretation through the medium of photography. So that sort of outlines what I'm looking for in a photo poetry book. And I want to share some examples that I think embody those goals. Whenever I'm asked for an example of photo poetry, I start with facile, which still sets the bar for what this genre can do. It is a suite of love poems from Paul Eluard to his wife Noosh that combines graphic design, strong images from Man Ray, and text, and a nearly seamless integration of all of these elements into a loose portfolio. The words shape the images, which in turn act as a complementary expression of love. And the resulting work is a masterpiece that few examples since can raise to. Moving into the present day, this is a book called El Rio by Zoe Leonard and Dolores Durantes, which comes from the Mexico City publisher Gato Negro, hopefully familiar to many of you. It brings together images from along the Rio Grande with text by the Mexican poet and activist Durantes, with water as a framework throughout the book, and with Spanish and English texts that are not translations, but provide a three-way dialogue expressing the situation that the artists found there. Museum is a book that was produced by the photographer Dragana Jurisic and the poet Paula Meehan, and is a set of closely connected commissions done by 14 Henrietta Street, a social history museum in Dublin, that serve to convey the feel of the space, the story of tenement life, and a set of stories from the people who have passed through this space. Meehan created a poem cycle as part of the original commission, and then Dragana created a set of photos with the two series diverging and intersecting throughout the book, providing a result that invites the reader to walk through the building and perhaps to hear the ghosts that still inhabit it. Salt Moon is a collaboration between the father and son poet and photographer David and Simon Harsent, published by Guillemot Press. It has an atmospheric, almost Turner-esque feel, which combined with the largely non-narrative text has the reader transported as you travel through the seas. In a different space is In This Dark Wood by Elizabeth Tonnard, and it is a much more conceptual work. It takes a wide range of English translations of the first line of Dante's Inferno and pairs them with images of lone people walking in the city at night, taken from the Cell collection at the Visual Studies Workshop. It's very much a project that develops a cumulative force as you go through it. Neither the individual images nor the recurring opening line are that interesting by themselves, but as you go through the book, it becomes increasingly ominous, and the strength of the project grows on you. Venti Oceanici is one of my favorite books from the publisher Origini Edizioni, done by Valentino Baracchini and Matilda Laricchio. They are an amazing artist book publisher, creating photopoetic and other image text small editions based in Livorno, Italy. And they love to bring together interesting combinations of material along with components of the book that produce strong overall results. In this example, they evoke a mood and atmosphere through a combination of the large size of the book, it's 40 centimeters tall, a design involving alternating paper types and sizes, all meant to echo the rhythm of ocean waves, combined with the verses to express ideas of borders, of the overlapping of different seas, and of the power of the ocean. Returning to land, enough was made last year by the photographer Laurent Chevalier and Dr. Jamila Lyascott, inspired by the 1955 classic by Roy de Carava and Langston Hughes, Sweet Flypaper of Life. It is looking at contemporary Blackness and the Black experience in New York. The images were shot over a 5-year period, with the poem then written by Dr. Lyascott after looking at the work in general and understanding the range of material. The two then collaborated on the pairing and sequencing and the overall organization of the book. It's presented in a quite straightforward way, as shown here, that allows the reader space to look, to read, and think as they move through the book. Landfall from Dats Press in Korea is by Sal Taylor Kidd, a book artist now based in the US state of Maine. And this is an homage to Penobscot Bay on the Maine coast. She combines her verse, printed on translucent sheets of paper, through which you can faintly see the photographs of the landscape, to connect the reader with her impressions of this place, and producing a book that elicits related memories from the reader. She is also working on a collaborative Instagram photopoetry project. And interestingly, Instagram is becoming an increasingly prolific platform for photopoetic exploration as well. So I hope this brief introduction has gotten you to start thinking of examples you've come across, or perhaps that it will make you more able to notice them in the future. And if you're interested in more, I'm working with Astra Papachristodoulou and Paul Hawkins on a set of programs and exhibitions as part of the Bristol Photo Festival in June of this year. Thank you very much.